won't need one for the...
This is simply just to get angle it and then bring it back.
If you've got stretch, then you've got enough room for stretcher in here. Yeah, there's loads and loads of room. Okay, so the next part of the process is going to be to tip the frame with our attendant on it forward. And again, it can't tip too far because Alex has put a knot in the ID. So he's going to be allowing it to pay out. We're going to manually be lifting. And you'll find that it gets to there's like a fulcrum point where there's a load on the frame until you get to about here when it then wants to go that way. So it's not huge amounts of manual.
We should probably just have it horizontal.
Yeah.
Stretch will make it.
Yeah.
Maybe slightly the other way.
Okay.
Okay, so we pivot the frame back down and we'll ask Richard to load the system up again. Climb on up. All right.
Oh, go on.
Right. Okay, I'll do. All right, now let's pivot the frame back up. Alex can pay out a little bit when he needs
Ready,
to.
gents? Okay, lift when you're ready.
Nice and slowly.
Feet still moving, feet moving, feet moving, feet moving.
Okay, that's it.
Feet are walking.
It's got to be from the pull from these two pulleys down here, not being quite square.
Probably not to be better. Not dip it down slightly.
Yeah, it is. Because your anchor for the frame is trying to pull it that way, but your pulleys are trying to pull it that way slightly.
Yeah.
Can you not send him up and down and just see what does happen? How
Yeah.
bad it does?
But if anything, it's just going to keep walking that way.
Yeah, when the demonstration we had, it just walks back and aligns itself anyway.
It's going around
But it always walks away from the edge rather than towards it.
They can't do that forever, can it? It's got to hit
No.
the point
No.
where it's happy.
Yeah.
It's going to hit a sweet spot in between that white line and the blue and red line.
Okay, so we can lower our attendant nice and slowly.
I feel like the more it walks back and loads itself on that.
Okay.
They can hold it and then.
Yeah.
It's not that the red line's taking more load.
I think it's because we need those anchors to be directly use the same anchor if need be.
One down there.
Yeah.
Because that'll make it a lot more. Everything will be going into the same.
But that's not a big
Well, batteries need to be out as well.
Yeah.
What you should always do is have to redirect it off the same anchor if you don't want it to be on something like that.
Yeah. Okay. To happen, I can't remember what he said. 20 kilograms.
This is what they've said.
Yeah. Yeah, because an alternative is at the front here you've got a number of engineered holes, and you can attach a weighted rope bag and drape it over the edge of the cliff, and it'll stop it from walking
I
back.
mean, it looks a lot like that. It's gonna be, that's a good
Funny, I thought
Okay.
the whole thing like everything goes straight.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
I think it will if we have those anchors in the same line. The reason it's trying to spin is that this pulley, I think, is trying to pull more sort of in that direction. Okay, when you're ready, if you want to raise, you okay, Richard? Yep. Yeah, ready to raise? All the way. So it's not going to pivot at all until we're ready. Bit of exfoliation. Right.
All the way up.
No, that's it. Well. Don't go all the way. You've got to get a few inches. What's happening if you pull it up? It's not pull it
So you need to dangle because you don't do that.
Yeah, so we're going to now just pivot him back. And it's important, as Alex was just saying, if we take in too much on maiden safety, the knots that are at the figure eights that are just above Richard are going to end up getting stuck against the pulleys, because as we pivot this back, these lines are going to come under a bit more tension. So leave 6 inches or more. Okay, happy?
Yep.
Next part of the process then is we're going to be pushing down on the A-frame, Kev, you can do this.
You literally do, you don't put a...
No, because of the fact it's a big cantilever, you've got a hell of a lot of leverage on there. You two pulling down, at some point it's going to go from being pulling in to holding up. The weight's going to sort of, you'll feel it as it happens, and Alex is just going to take in as you bring back. So everything nice and slowly.
Okay. Ready, gents?
Okay.
Okay.
Give it back.
Oh, pinata.
How far does this go?
Right way down.
And then you two could have gone to man.
Yeah.
Okay.
My guys.
Sorry?
And now you can pay out on your main and safety, and we can lower our guy well and truly inside the footprint of the marking frame.
I'll beat you with your stick. Yeah, look at that guy. Drop down inside the center.
And still only 2 people doing that when they're the paddle 3 steps away.
Yeah. Yeah, again, it's about leverage. So I think you'll find that it might take a little bit more, but you'll be able to pull it down.
Somebody else to go with the edge?
I'm alright, actually.
It's a bad one. I wouldn't mind seeing the Larkin take an action. So. No, it's fine. Is it down from here, or are we going to lower it?
I don't know what I'm allowed to take apart.
No,
You take those clips out. You lift that out. You take that out of the way then, can't you? Strip that bit out before. Just change this bar here.
Well, if you can leave that bit all together, and just take these two uprights out,
Okay, good.
and then take the horizontal one out and put the short one in.
Lift it and take it over.
Did you actually come from that station?
Yeah, when you come Sydney, sorry, the ambulance is a yeah. Hell yeah. Friday night fever.
We've got a couple of things that we pretty
Yes, we're going to use this for the anchor to the larger frame. Okay. But if we can use whatever you like for the main and safety frame. Do you want to go up to that one back there, Rich? Can we? Yeah. If they're going to be high, it's going to stop the frame from...
So it's the back end.
What one is the anchor one?
Right, well, we've got the extra arm.
The main lot in mind is going to be regenerated.
It's the only issue when you go to the main and safety frame. You don't need to worry about that because they're before we go. So, given that it's definitely smaller, we're going to need it obviously closer to the edge. Yeah. Good. Yeah, well, on top of Winters at corner buttress, you've got room for that definitely. The 9 foot area, you're probably going to have to do a bit of tree surgery.
You've got room, but have you got
The end for it, you know,
where you can?
Yeah. At corner buttresses, there isn't too many problems with regard to anglers. There's no high redirect, which is the issue.
You ever go big man?
yeah.
Well, you should do it.
Hey.
No, not me.
Who wants to have a go? Set the big fella down.
Oh, did you? Oh, right. Oh, you mean the upgrade?
We can get that angle before we get it loaded on it. So we just allow some slack in that.
You skip leg day for Tim, didn't you?
No, it's all go back to you a bit, Mark. Right, now just over to you a bit, but keeping our orientation.
You've got the stretches vertical as well, you have it like there.
Yeah.
Load back there, then take it with us.
I think we'll give it a go in a second, and we'll load it up and work out how far we get over the transition with it this way.
Well, have you got a stretcher? So we can borrow a stretcher.
Yeah.
Try it.
Yeah, what do you want?
Yeah,
A sked?
Any? Yeah.
There's a sked in there.
Or a scoop. Anything.
Yeah, that would be an easy one to use. But we'll get the other ones out.
We'll give it a go just with Sean first of all. So if you clip into your main and safety, I mean, you could do it
On here.
Yeah. Okay. How are you at the back there?
Yeah, we're main line is ready. We all right? Yeah.
Some short ropes, have you got some?
Okay, taking the flat then on both main and safety too.
A bit dusty.
We'll rig that into the system in a tick. So take it back out for a moment.
Slack on me. Yeah.
Okay, great. You can walk round to the front of the frame now. Just do a quick check of those anchors, main and safety.
That's an issue, isn't it? We're not fully.
That tight up in there. It looks a bit like a pulley now, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
You could go suddenly from that big thing to a little tiny one.
So you're going to
Bend
load
your
the
knees a
system in
bit
a set.
small.
So, that was
Yeah.
so Ed, if you can take in on the anchor line, taking all of that slack, and then you'll be paying that out, but it won't go past the knot when we do pivot the frame. That's great. Okay, you happy?
Yep.
They're both locked?
Locked.
So you can sit down into the system now and load it. Okay, so Ed, you can gradually start paying out on that anchor line. No further than the knot we've already put in, which should guarantee us that we won't go beyond ever so slightly nose down. How you feeling, Sean?
So it does.
Smile then.
Living the dream.
Yeah, that'll do. We can lock off the anchor ID, and then we can start paying out on main and safety. So we'll just rest there actually, just for a sec. You can see how much of a redirect we've got over that transition. It's sticking out.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah? So it's a reasonable amount, even though the frame is only just, well, it's still back in from the edge at a fair amount. And given that the main obstacle that we're trying to overcome is that very last bit of the transition, really, isn't it? That last foot of vertical coming into horizontal, I think it's going to achieve that.
It's nice not having to worry about rope protection as well.
Yeah? Yeah. So if Sean were to now move, if he were to now move sort of out to his left or right, you can see in your head how it would start putting different forces on the frame. So that's that key element. He's got to stay within that triangle and be able to, in principle, look up and see the pulley at all times. So again, on winters, you're more likely to have to bring the casualty to you than you would be to rig this above the casualty. And there's a couple of reasonable places where it's got a fairly good chance of working, and then the broad walk is that bit where a lot of climbers tend to bottom out if they're going to deck it, and we can move them, in principle, package them and move them across to the bottom and then bring them up through the frame. Okay, so we can carry on lowering and then just put a quick raise in.
That's me. Good juicer. I did a film, and it had to be a mine shaft, but it was that deep. So when the guy disappeared, he had to
Pretend to pull
on the rope. And then when we hauled the bag out, he had to hang on to the rope and put pressure, weight on it. Otherwise, it would have just come flying out.
Excellent. So again, when we're doing a raise with this, we want the haul to be fairly equal, otherwise we're going to try and pivot the feet around. So keep the shunts in broadly the same position. And Alex, if you can stand on that other foot for me. Okay, so you ready? Okay, we can haul away. Okay, and this might need to pay out just a little bit on both.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah, just pay out probably
About half a foot.
I'll do. Okay, and now we're going to pull down. Clearly we haven't got as much of a cantilever or as much leverage, so it will be a bit more load on there than previously. Go. Excellent, and we take in then on the anchor line, taking all that slack, and then you walk, ideally, I guess, through the frame would stop it from tipping over that way. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it.
So doing this with a stretcher and a rescue load then, to get them a good way in from the edge, probably do want to be using the full size one, looking at it. Otherwise, you know, that's sort of not far over the edge right now, is it? If you could, because you can't bring them through that on the stretcher.
I think with a bit of, we'll need to give it a go, I think, but with a bit of manipulation, I think it's possible. Yeah. It's going to be a case of balancing the paying out on the main and safety to be in control all the time. If you come through the frame, then there's no risk of it going over one side or the other. Clearly, that's going to be the most difficult part, I suppose, isn't it?
But on ours, when you actually got the full stops, pour, and then the knot, you're almost going to be touching the deck.
Yep.
As it is.
Possibly somewhere below.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something for us to have a look at.
I think it's not a problem if you did need a full size. The full size is still not that huge. It's big.
Yeah. I think the only issue with the full size thing, I'm just thinking that again, primarily about Windsor's Leap is going to be, yeah, so we'd have to.
If you're going to edge tendon helping you out, he's already on the lanyard anyway.
Well, in principle, the guys who are monitoring the feet are going to be in work restraint anyway, aren't they? So they're going to be able to be hands-free and giving you a hand with manipulating the stretch around.
think the critical thing with it is going to be getting feet level on like a slippy rocky surface.
Yeah.
And if it is going to start wondering how we're going to end up skewing it. Appreciate this is on grass now. I know it's settling, but it's digging in. But you haven't got to have much of a imbalance before, particularly on the short ones, that you're.
So with this one, you could put packing underneath if you need to, so rather than having some wooden.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess what we need,
What
we need to do, really, and I guess we've got the luxury of time to work out where is a suitable place, where isn't, and what modifications you may need in order to make that place suitable. So it could be a combination of sandbags. Sandbags are obviously going to be useful in that they'll fill a void, but they are in essence a movable solid. So yeah, the alternative is like wooden blocks that are stepped, so you can have them stepped in and gradually they get thicker and thicker. Does that make sense? You know? Like you use for your caravan.
And if it comes to it, wang some fucking 12mm bolts in.
Yeah.
And if you over drill the holes, you just knock them in afterwards, and if it's a rescue, who's gonna,
Yeah, that's true.
you know?
There isn't-
12mm through bolts would just go in as easy.
The thing that I guess we've not covered as much as we probably should have is that you do need to have these people acting as attendants for the feet, and by standing on them, that's more than sufficient to stop that walking motion. And again, they were talking about at the front of these feet, you've got engineered holes which are intended for you to put a weighted item over the edge. So a couple of boulders in a rope bag just hanging just over the edge is going to be sufficient to stop the device from trying to walk backwards. So as long as everything is square and true, then you only need somebody to be just gently stood on here and it will stop it from.
Did they say anything about standing on the pole? Because I can see that as a temptation.
Yeah, don't, I think is what they said on that. Yeah, they're not going to get damaged unless you really do abuse them, but yeah, just that, same with all of the rest of our kit. Don't stand on it. You see, as they go. Yeah. Again, you wouldn't need to, you could put a rope bag over the edge, 1 for each. I'm sure you said it was something like, well, it's not about weight down, it's about force pulling forward. And I'm sure he said it was only like 20 kilograms of weight that you need on top of it. So that's.
But I think,
Yeah.
but I think that you're going to need a bit of practice with the stretcher there, with the body on the stretcher. And if you've got the two attendants that are also fixed in, they've got to carry that around that front at the same time loosening there. Do you see what I'm...
Yeah, no, I'd anticipate coming through probably is more likely.
But to manoeuvre that with a body on there, when you're on the cliff edge and turning that around, feeding it
Unless we're
through.
using what we do with practicing the other little bit like system. That would be one that would really help to be able to get that through.
In terms of checking the frame when it's assembled,
Yeah.
same as in whoever's assembled it and doesn't check it.
I guess that'd be sound practice, wouldn't it? And you can have the team who've assembled this, or 2 or 3 guys or whatever have done that, and whilst you've got anchors and systems being rigged, you can then do a quick swap over and make sure everyone's happy with what they've done.
The only ones that are really critical is the top tube, isn't it? So that's the only one that's in tension. Everything else is naturally being pushed together.
Yeah, compression.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, but if you, the only clips that need to be in is the top one, that's the only one in tension. Everything else is being pushed back together.
You happy with that? Bro. Thank you, Paul.
All right.
Yeah.
Small one for half the price.
Yeah.
Wasn't a tenner, was it?
Pete, just stand at the gate when you go out and check all the vehicles.
No, I think if we had an opportunity to have a go at.
No problem. Whenever you want to set it up.
Fantastic. Thank
You
you.
know, I mean, you know, it doesn't need a great gang of us to come, but it would be good
Yeah, yeah,
to come.
for sure.
And obviously, you know, Kevin and John, it would be good to get those guys along as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because what I also envisage is, we did an exercise that people will know Miss Grace's name. Well, there's a cave there, we did an exercise, we've got a video of the Larkin frame in use there. And I can see, if we end up with a rescue situation, you guys looking after that. Because we're going to have enough to do. If it's a long way into that cave, we're going to have enough to do underground. And if you guys are happy and, you know, and I don't mean in the wrong sense, capable of looking after the surface, that can take a big load off our, you know, personnel.
Yeah.
So, you know, the more we can do together,
Yeah.
it's all good stuff. you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other thing, of course, is at this point in time, if you want this, it's a phone call.
Yeah.
You know, or
That's
a SARA call message to say, guys, bring the Larkin frame to X.
Yeah.
You know, there's no point in not utilising this stuff.
No, we appreciate that.
So, you know, almost the sooner we could do an exercise, the better, really. Because then we wouldn't be going into it blind.
Yeah.
Because that's the worst situation, really. At Miss Grace's Lane, they spent a long time setting the thing up and playing around on the surface. So when it actually came to it, it almost went like clockwork.
Yeah.
Won't be quite as smooth as you guys, because we're a bit rough and ready when we're all there, but you know, but it worked fantastic, and you know, like you've seen the video,
Yes,
you know, and it's on there, and you guys can have a look at it and just see it.
Yeah.
How the big difference it made for us there compared to using a tripod. Because we all know the limitations of tripods.
Yeah.
Great as long as you keep the load like that and it's driving down, but as soon as you go sideways, well, there's only one way it's going, and that's over. You know. And we were well impressed with it.
So we've done a fair bit of stuff with our tripod, which is the sister of
that's
the one that you've got, isn't it? The big industrial thing. And as Paul was saying, you've got a triangle which is the footprint, and the resultant force that comes from the pulley which sits at the head. Between that and the anchor, there will be an angle that forms, and as long as the resultant that dissects that falls within the footprint, it will be solid. It won't go anywhere. But as soon as you start making that footprint smaller by bringing the trailing leg further forward, you make that triangle smaller and smaller and smaller. It's so easy for it to step out, and when it does, it tends to be quite a catastrophic moment.
Yeah, and you're not stopping it.
So this, I think everyone would have to agree, if you've done stuff with a tripod before, this is inherently safer.
Yeah, I think there's more scope to use it, and also the overall weight is a lot less.
Yeah.
In terms of transporting it about.
Yeah.
Because it will break down into smaller components.
Yeah, I mean that's the full size. If you're only intending to take half of it, then there's half as many of those pole lengths. You've still got to carry the main weight of it is in those hinge components. But yeah, there's nothing.
It's got to be 50, 60 kilos that tripod.
It is hugely.
Yeah, it does take a little bit of effort. Getting on top of the Land Rover.
I used to be on the top of it about 2 as well.
Right, okay, so shall we break that all down, then we can pack the stuff away into our bags, and we'll pack the Larkin frame away into the Larkin bag, and then if anybody wants to go have a look at the video of the